A climbing gym helps connect people to the church in Thailand. A 10K run helps plant a church in Ecuador, and a unique church in Spain. All of this and much more coming up next. Hello and welcome to Mission 360. I'm Gary Krause. Today's program is coming to you from the city of Chicago in the United States. And it was right here back in the late 1800s that the Chicago Medical Mission was established. The story goes that Dr. John Harvey Kellogg came down from Battle Creek, spoke to the police chief and said, "Please take me to the dirtiest, most wicked part of the city." And that's where he established the mission. And it had all sorts of activities to help the poor, the needy, alcoholics, prostitutes, the unemployed, the homeless, and they did a wonderful work. But Ellen White became increasingly concerned in the way that it was advocating medical mission above normal mission, the way that it was downplaying the name Seventh-day Adventist, the way that it was putting all the resources into one place. And so eventually this wonderful ministry folded. But the ministry of centers of influence still has life. And Ellen White constantly talked about the need to have various types of small centers in urban areas to serve as a springboard for putting Christ's method of ministry into practice. And we'll be looking at all types of mission on today's program. But first up, let's travel to Quito in Ecuador.
In Quito, Ecuador's capital city, a 10-kilometer race was just what a group of young Adventists needed to help them plant a church.
The idea came from a small group of youth. We used to gather together here in my living room, and we used to say, besides just being together and learning from each other's experiences, we need to do something else.
They decided they were going to plant a church in an unentered part of the city.
This is a small valley, but we have a couple of churches. And this neighborhood was isolated, so we decided that this neighborhood it's alone, they need their own church.
We knocked on doors and asked, "Do you want to study the Bible?" It was a bad idea. The people responded, "No, we don't even know you. Who are you? What do you want?" So we got together again and we planned how we could reach the people.
And we started asking the community about their needs, and we found a lot of problems.
One of the most important necessities was health. So we planned to have a free consultations, lab test, and a health fair.
After much planning, the group calculated the cost of a health fair and found it would be about $3,000. But the group of young people and students couldn't afford to contribute that much. Every Wednesday, they went jogging together as a group activity. As they prepared for the weekly jog, someone came up with the idea to use their activity as a way to raise funds. They began organizing a 10-kilometer race where people can register and pay a small fee to enter. Any earnings from the race could go towards the cost of the health fair.
We started like just young people making plans. And we started like, you are going to do this, you're going to do this. And I felt like I was doing something big for Jesus. I took that as a big responsibility. I thought that it's a big job, it's a great opportunity to do something useful for the Lord.
We have never done any race like this before. We didn't even know where to start. Well, we decided to do it and set a date in 1 month. I don't know how God helped us through this. Because the permits to close the streets, many times you need a year to get permission. But we did it.
As a result of the race, they raised the money to conduct a health fair and start their church plant. And they also kept contact with many of the race participants. Each participant received a book included in their registration called The Power of Hope. These events opened doors to the community, and they studied the Bible with anyone who showed interest. They found a building to rent for church and were finally ready to open their own doors.
And we opened the first Sabbath, and it was only us. But we continued with the Bible studies, and we began seeing people come little by little.
Noemi and Miguel own a bakery next to the church. Sometimes during the week, people from the church went to buy things from their store. And one day, Noemi asked them about the church. She was invited to study the Bible with them the next Sabbath. As her faith grew, she prayed that Miguel would go to church with her, but he showed no interest. After a few months, as a birthday gift, he agreed to join her for one Sabbath only.
My first impression was that I didn't know anybody, but everybody knew me. They called me by name and said, "Miguel, welcome." I felt an immense love.
Miguel wanted to learn more, so he and Noemi asked for Bible studies at home. Eventually, they gave their hearts to Jesus and were baptized. Their bakery is now closed on Saturdays, but business has doubled on Sundays.
It's a radical change. When we were not baptized, when we didn't know the church, we had a lot of problems. Now it's different. We study together, go to church together, sing, and pray to God.
Miguel and Noemi's family is just one example of those who have come to know the love of Jesus, and they're excited to share what they've learned.
In my house, we have a small group that meets once a week. Our goal as a family is to share God's Word with other families so they can know God as we know Him.
About 10 people have been baptized as a result, and now Global Mission is helping this new church plant in this major city. Church members pray that their efforts through total member involvement will continue to spread God's love throughout the community.
The dream is that this church can grow and we can all see each other in heaven.
I feel satisfied with my work in here. I feel very grateful with God because I see how I can make a difference in this place, that I can serve Him.
It feels good to serve Jesus.
Please pray for Mission to the Cities, which focuses on reaching people in the largest cities in the world. Thank you for your support of Global Mission church planting projects in urban areas like Quito.
My guest is Dr. Manuel Alva, who is here at a center of influence in the suburbs of Chicago. Dr. Alva, thanks so much for joining us. Now, this is quite a center. Can you describe where we are and what this is?
Yes, right now we're on the middle of the Adventist Community Services thrift store.
Yes.
It's called Treasure Hunt. Jesus is our best treasure and the Word of God is, but to the people outside, they can come here and find bargains. Good quality clothing and home utensils at a cheap price. They can have friendly staff and something to read, something to take home and read. And they want to know, why is this closed on Sabbath, since it's the day of most activity? And we let them know why. They get invited to come to the church meetings and the potlucks that we have here every Sabbath.
Right, so we're in a thrift store here, which is like the storefront, but as we go through here, the center has many different aspects.
Correct.
So let's go and have a look through here. So this is on a very busy road here.
Yes, that's old Route 66.
Oh, the old Route 66.
The one that ran from Chicago
yes,
to LA.
Yes, yes,
yes.
And so we come through here, and now we're into the clinic.
Yes.
So this connects, the two are connected insofar as you have the same vision, you have the same purpose.
Yes.
Now describe this clinic to me.
Well, you come here because other doctors sent you. You're usually a member of the Hispanic community around here. And you come to check your insides, your stomach or your bowels. We don't do that here. We just interview them here.
Yes.
And we do a big component of health education. Hola. You know that a lot of people in our community, especially Hispanics in this country, have fatty liver, cirrhosis, high cholesterol, diabetes, high blood pressure. So by just coming and being interviewed for a colonoscopy, we evaluate these problems and we just tell them, do you want to change your health around? Many respond to the challenge. They come to listen to the health lectures or to the cooking classes, or when they have a severe illness is when they remember and then they come. So it's just a matter of patience and reminding them that there's solution for their daily health problems.
Yes. Now, Doctor, you're a gastroenterologist. What gets you involved in the Center of Influence? Why aren't you just off at a hospital somewhere making a lot of money?
Well, I would just want everyone in this neighborhood, in this community, to meet Jesus and to enjoy better health, to be rid of all this malaise and fatigue and illnesses that are attacking our community rampantly.
Yeah.
I was sick myself. I know how it feels to be sick with high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and depression and asthma. And thank God, by applying the 8 easy principles of health, I'm a different person. And I have to recognize every day. And I like to share 1 or 2 nuggets with my patients that come here. And thank God they're responding.
Fantastic. So we have the clinic here. We have treatment rooms around those corners. And is it of an evening that you have like your seminars and your cooking demonstrations?
Yes, in the weekends.
Okay, on the weekends.
And some evenings we have demonstrations here in the auditorium.
Okay, let's move in here and look at this after you, Doctor. This is the auditorium.
Yeah.
So we have the thrift store, Adventist Community Services. We have the clinic with all the seminars, everything that are connected. And this is the auditorium. What happens here?
Here we have lectures, we have a screen for audiovisual, and we have sound. It's usually better at night when there's not a lot of light. So we conduct health lectures here. There's a group that meets weekly here called Neurotics Anonymous.
Neurotics Anonymous.
Neurotics Anonymous. That is like Alcoholics Anonymous, but for people with depression, anxiety, the most common things that affect neighborhoods here. And they can come and share their histories and learn about these 12 steps, which are really biblical steps. How you recognize your problem, you recognize that you can't do anything about it, recognize that there's a higher power ready to help you, and then you ask this higher power, please help me, and then he helps you recognizing your failures more than what you thought originally. Then you can ask for forgiveness to people that you have offended. And you learn in humility to live with other people. I'm participating in that because all of us are not immune to anxieties and stresses of modern life.
Exactly.
So it's becoming a great help.
Wonderful. And on Sabbaths, you have a worshiping group here, a church plant?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's about 30 or 40 people that meet. We have more chairs inside are utilized right now for the clinic. So yeah, we have a wonderful time, and we usually have every Sabbath since we started. We have a potluck, and it's a healthy potluck.
That's good.
No one has gotten sick, thank God. Come here, and we get healthy food that actually heals your gastritis, dilates your blood vessels, so your blood pressure goes down. So it's a good advertisement for our patients that come, or people who walk through the store that obviously have health problems. They're invited to come and just give it a try.
Wonderful.
Many do.
Wonderful.
Some of them never come back. But the seed is planted.
Yes.
And we know that very soon that seed is going to germinate and give fruit for the glory of God.
Terrific. Speaking of which, can you tell me a story of someone whose life has been changed by coming here?
Yeah, I wish she was here. Angelica is the manager of our store right now. She had health problems, came to the clinic. She realized that there was more in the clinic than just health. Our chaplain, pastor at that time, got interested in her and visited her at home, discovered that she was related to Seventh-day Adventist people, started studying the Bible with her. She was baptized, and then she wanted to serve in some capacity. We asked people that come in, what are you good for? What is your experience? She said, well, I have managed a store before. We needed someone like that. So she's the manager of the store, and she's in fire for Christ, and she will tell everyone that works there, give them a pamphlet, tell them that they're welcome to come on the Sabbath and enjoy the fellowship and the meal, especially if you're alone in this community, if you have no one to look after you, no relatives, no friends, here's the place.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for what you're doing here. Appreciate what you're doing, and may God bless you. And viewers at home, please pray for this Center of Influence. Please pray for Dr. Manuel and his wife, Dr. Esther, who's working here as well, and the whole team. as they make a difference, as they put Christ's method of ministry into practice right here in this neighborhood. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the city of Chicago. And behind me you'll see a sculpture by Anish Kapoor, which is called Cloud Gate, but it's more popularly known as The Bean. And it's like a magnet drawing tourists to take pictures and do funny poses and see themselves reflected in this sculpture.
Hi there, I'm so happy to have you with us today. My name is Kleber Gonçalves, and I'm here in the streets of Madrid to introduce you to a friend and an urban missionary. This is Jonathan Contero. And Johnny, you mentioned to us that a dream brought you to this city. Can you share with us a little bit about this dream?
Yeah, when I was raised in church, I was feeling that we weren't able to reach secular people. And in 21st century, we still in Spain, we don't reach secular and postmodern people. And my dream was to plant a church able to reach this kind of people.
A community that could communicate with the secular and postmodern mind.
To connect with them.
What brought you to Madrid? Any specific reason?
Well, Madrid is the capital of Spain. It's the largest city, actually. 3 million people are living here.
How large is the country, the whole country?
The country, it's like 47 million people living.
And in Madrid?
In Madrid, it's 3 million,
3 million
living here. So it's quite big city to share the gospel.
And for how long have you been in Madrid with this specific project?
It's for 3 years now, yeah.
And during these 3 years, could you share with us some of the challenges that you have faced in order to really...
Yeah, the challenge in postmodern society, they reject organized religion, they even reject the idea of God. They don't like religion and churches. They reject all these ideas.
And what are some of the steps that you and your team have developed to make friendship with them, to build bridges with the community around you?
Well, the first step is impact the community. To live what we preach is just impacting the community around us, and we invite them to join us, working for the community, for homeless people. We go to the hospital. We do very hard pushing to the impact to community.
When I hear you mentioning that you guys go to hospitals to do a specific work with children there, if I'm not wrong, can you go a little bit more specific? What you do in the hospital in order to really reach out to these children and their families?
In the hospital, we stay with them, we play with them, and we spend time with them. At the end, I guess people need time, quality time, and to develop trust. And we try to spend quality time with them.
What are some of the results that are coming out of these community initiatives that you have been developing?
Well, we do a summer camp with sick kids, cancer, epilepsy, and 2 girls, 2 of the participants of the summer camp, 2 ladies of 15 years old. They are coming to church very often because of the summer camp.
That's wonderful.
We do.
That's wonderful. Yeah. And throughout these years that you've been leading this specific project, what are some of the lessons, Jonathan, that you have learned that you could share with us?
Yeah, first lesson is to develop trust before the invitation. I mean, people need to trust you before they go the way you do and before going the place you go. The second is patience. We need to be patient because we are in a rush. We are stressed to make people do a commitment with Jesus very fast. And secular people need time to make a commitment.
And throughout this whole wonderful experience that you guys are having, I heard that many people have been transformed. Could you kind of mention a situation, a story of somebody?
Yeah, a guy comes to my mind. He's an actor, and he started with us with the projects. This is step 1. He did step 2. These are small groups. He came to my house, and we studied Bible every week. We prayed together. And the third step, he came to church. he was ready to come to church, and now his disciple, being really a disciple.
So he's part of the community right now.
Yeah.
What kind of steps are you guys taking to build this family kind of attitude in the community?
Yeah, we try to teach, to pass it on, the idea of discipleship. We are a family and community. We are a family and we work for God, but we work to one another. We help us one another and we try to change the world.
So if I hear you correctly, church for you guys is not a building or four walls in which you meet once a week.
Not at all. Church, we are church, the persons. Every one of us is church together when we are together.
So your goal is to build the church in the community.
Yeah. No matter the building, the church is every one of us and what we do.
So the idea is to kind of bring this vision, this dream to other young people, other pastors that could take this to maybe other cities in Spain.
Yeah, hopefully,
even out of Spain.
Yeah, hopefully it will be a great miracle and a great challenge as well.
And it is our sincere prayer, Jonathan, that the Lord will continue to bless you, your team, the community that you are building in such a way that you're going to be powerful instruments in His hands. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for having us in your home. And we just pray that you also understand that God has a plan to you, that you also has a part to fulfill in His mission. All the best. God bless you.
Next up, we travel to Thailand and we visit a unique mission project. It's a climbing wall.
The thing that I really like is seeing people do something that they think they can't do, or trying something, facing a challenge, and then pushing through and continuing to try. To me, it gives me courage to see that people can be willing to do something. We see people who have never climbed before, they're terrified of it, they're scared of heights, and we say, no, you can do it, and we give them encouragement, and we try to help give them some kind of motivation, and they go for it, and they do it, and at the end, they're so excited that they did it. You know, that's just really fulfilling to me. My wife, Jessica, and I most recently lived in Washington State in the USA. And we just felt like God was calling us somewhere else, and we prayed about it, and through prayer and study, God brought us to this place. Bangkok is a giant city. I think there's like 12 million people that live here. They say there's 2 million that commute into work every day. It's very modern. It's got a lot of high-tech stuff. Neither one of us really likes urban settings or the city. We much more prefer nature and being outdoors, but sometimes you have to give up your desires and your wants for what God has. So yeah, He brought us here, and it wouldn't have been our first choice, but it's His choice, and so that's what we want to do. So the F5 Challenge Center is a health-focused center of influence in Bangkok, Thailand, where we're trying to connect with people and minister to felt needs through the avenue of health and fitness. F5 is actually an acronym, or there's 5 F's rather. It's faith, fellowship, fitness, fortitude, and fun. And those correlate with the 5 aspects of health: the spiritual, the mental, the physical, the emotional, and the social. It's kind of a holistic, encompassing message of health to try and connect with every aspect. Depression and suicide rates are really high, and so meeting those social and those emotional needs are also really important. Climbing is a very good thing for that. Climbing has been shown in studies to help with depression and different things like that. We have the climbing gym here where people can come and they can try out climbing, but also during the times where the weather is good, we lead weekly outdoor trips. We take people out of this giant city where they can go and climb on real rock. You know, to be able to see God's creation, to be able to see and interact with them in nature. And then basically you're spending 8 hours with a group of people, and it really gives opportunities in a social setting just to interact with each other, to learn about one another, and to really build those connections that build trust. When you're hanging off the side of a cliff 26 meters up in the air, and the only thing keeping you from falling to death is the person below holding onto the rope, it really builds trust and community. And so then when they come back down and they're so excited and they're really pumped up, you give them a high five, you say that was great, and then they sit down there while they wait for the next two people, and you get to talk and interact with them. And so you're building that relationship in a social setting. But we've had people talk to us about very personal challenges that they're facing. Maybe when they come into the gym and they're just kind of one-on-one, then this is something that's going on. And so we found that it really helps build a solid relationship rather than something where you see them every once in a while. The majority of people are living in cities. And often, when we first were thinking about becoming missionaries, we were thinking about, in the jungle adventures. We were reading Eric B. Hare stories, and fighting tigers and rogue elephants. And when God called us to Bangkok, it was like, that's not really a mission field, that's a city. But yeah, as we thought about it, it's like, this is a huge mission field. And it's where people, they don't know, and oftentimes they don't care. They don't really feel a need. They don't feel like they need anything physical. But what they fail to understand is that they do have emotional needs. They do have social needs. They have these things. And oftentimes you don't even know. You feel like, well, I got an Audi and I got a nice house and I got a girlfriend. I don't need anything else. But when we connect with them, we're able to share with them and build those relationships. You come to understand that, and you can help, share that there is a need that you have. You think that you're filling it with all of these things that you have, but it's not actually filling it. And that hole that you feel is actually can be filled with God, and He's seeking you and actively looking to connect with you there. But yeah, working with a group that has everything, it takes right more to the heart, that work towards the heart.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today on Mission 360. And I hope that you've enjoyed our 360-degree view of mission around the world. But we see so many different creative and dedicated ways to share the gospel around the world. And I want to thank you so much for being part of our Adventist mission team. Because whether you pray, whether you go, whether you give, whatever you do, you are part of our Adventist mission family, supporting mission. And I want you to continue to pray for our frontline mission workers. Well, for Adventist Mission, I'm Gary Krause, and I hope that you can join me next time right here on Mission 360.